the high statistical rate of autism in the trans community can be really easily explained if you recognise that the data being sampled is utter rubbish.
I'm Tash.
I'm Matthew.
And we are the owners of Bleeding Hearts Tattoo. We wanted you to step in and maybe feel like you're in your auntie's house.
The vibe in the shop is just really nice and friendly.
These guys are my safe space, they are my best friends.
We wanted everybody to feel comfortable, so regardless of your age, your gender, your diagnoses.
We have things like fidget toys and disposable earplugs, so if they have like noise or sensory issues.
I definitely think that there is a link between being neurodiverse and getting tattoos.
It's a way for neurodivergent people to express themselves.
Hi, I'm Sebastian. I'm 28 years old. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a gentleman of leisure. I don't work because I'm disabled, but I volunteer on a queer literature and arts magazine called Snowflake. I have inattentive type ADHD diagnosed and high suspicions of autism. I was about halfway to be a secondary school maths teacher, and then I just started getting really tired, getting very foggy, eventually had to quit teaching and have been sort of signed off sick and officially disabled since then. Took about 2-3 years to get diagnosed, but eventually I saw a rheumatologist who said, yep, you're hypermobile, you have fibromyalgia, you have chronic pain, you have this, you have that. And then I slowly learned to pace myself, to avoid the things that trigger a crash and a big sort of fatigue flare-up. And a lot of those things are the things that interact in this really awkward way with having ADHD. So, and autism, if I'm overstimulated, it will physically exhaust me to an unreasonable degree.
Morning.
Hello.
Hi. I'm Teddy, nice to meet you.
Sebastian, good to meet you.
Good to meet you, take a seat for me.
Hi, I'm Teddy. I am 27, my pronouns are they, them, and I'm a tattoo artist.
Every single Saturday morning, like clockwork, my dad would watch Soccer AM, and he'd just been channel hopping and found Miami Ink. By the end of the episode, I was sat about this far away from the television with my jaw on the floor, just absolutely mesmerised.
So, I will show you what I've got drawn up. Obviously, it's very similar to the original reference that you did send me, with it being a realism piece. I work in a wide range of styles, but my personal favourite is mixing either colour realism or black and grey realism with kind of like watercolour and painterly style. And I really like the juxtaposition of the two, the fact that they are two completely different styles, but then when you blend them together they work really, really well.
Yeah, I've not changed anything about the actual badge, but what I have changed is the drop shadow. I've just made it a little bit softer because in the original reference picture it was a really heavy shadow.
Today I'm getting a comm badge from Star Trek, which is probably very stereotypical nerdery. It's just sort of the hallmark of Starfleet, of everything in Star Trek. I'm specifically getting the design that was used in a later series called Deep Space Nine and in Voyager. And Deep Space Nine was probably my favourite. A lot of people call it, fully automated space communism. It's a post-scarcity society, there's no money. The only reason they're out there is to help people and to advance science. I think it looks great.
Yeah, happy with that. Where's it going? It's going on the chest.
On the
isn't it?
chest,
Yeah.
right where a badge
Fantastic.
would be,
Nice.
basically.
Unfortunately, I probably should have watched them before this, shouldn't I? I do know that it explores a lot within non-conformity in a lot of different ways, like whether it's like non-conformity in the way you present yourself, in the way you dress, in the way you look, in your gender.
That show had characters in it who were not explicitly trans, but let's face it, they were. A symbiotic worm who changes host body regularly and so has experience being both a man and a woman, and this is just a perfectly normal thing. And she introduces herself to someone who calls her him and by an old name, and then goes, no, actually it's Jadzia now. I'm a woman now. And they're like, oh great, cool, good to see you, old friend. They couldn't do that. They couldn't actually have trans characters in the show back then, but they could do that.
What kind of size are you thinking? I assume that you probably want something that's a little bit more like realistic to the size that the badge would actually be. So you
Yeah.
wouldn't want to go like huge with it.
Yeah, you can hold the badge in the palm of your hand. What I love about tattoos is that it's a very visible symbol of bodily autonomy. You fly in the face of social convention on what bodies should look like. You choose what aspects of yourself you want to make public, what interests you want to share. This kind of size I think is decent.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go bigger.
Yeah, that's
that
not
way.
a problem at all.
I definitely think that there is a link between being neurodiverse and getting tattoos. I am pretty convinced I have autism and ADHD. I do think I would benefit from a diagnosis at some point in the future, but it's not something that's like super pressing for me now. So it is kind of on a back burner because at the moment my gender identity is what's more important to me medically.
I think that anyone seeking diagnosis should think very carefully about what they're going to gain from it. For me, being trans, I have now chosen not to get an autism diagnosis because there is such a history of putting people like us on lists to deny autonomy, deny medical care.
Do you mind me asking how long ago you had surgery?
Like 7-8 years now.
Oh, nice. So it's been a while then.
The high statistical rate of autism in the trans community can be really easily explained if you recognise that the data being sampled is utter rubbish, because there is no other minority group in the world that has to see 2 psychiatrists and be assessed to get medical care. So obviously, any person with neurodiversity who is trans is going to have that picked up, whereas cis people, it will fly under the radar much more often. So there's your data's already nonsense.
Issues surrounding like trans healthcare and stuff makes it so taboo to even speak about what the options are. I have known that I'm non-binary for a good, well, my whole life really, but I didn't have the words to conceptualise it. It wasn't until I spoke to other non-binary people about their experience that I was like, hang on a minute, this is very similar. And then over the last few years, I've just kind of been slowly trying to come to terms with it and figure out what exactly that means for me.
I will run for a quick smoke and then I'll come back in, get all my inks out ready and get like a pillow for the bed just so that you are as comfortable as possible. And then when I am ready for you, I'll shout you.
Brilliant.
Real.
I'll have a sandwich.
Fantastic.
I would really like to pursue masculinising my features in the future. I would love to have a more masculine face shape. I'd love to have some facial hair. I'd love a deeper voice. It's things that I really do think would make me like 100% comfortable in myself and the way I present to the world. So what I'll do to start off with is I'll literally just do like the teeniest little bit just to ease you into it so that I'm not going
It's been a few years.
straight in. It's difficult because I've been out to the closest people in my life for a few years now, but I only changed my name and only went very, very public with it last week. The more I heard my old name, the more it kind of hit me in the gut a little bit every time. So it was like, no, I think it's actually time to be a little bit more stern with it and be like, no, this is who I am. When I thought about being referred to as Teddy, this is really like kind of soppy, but it literally made me feel warm inside.
So how long have you been out as trans then, if you don't mind me asking?
So I came out when I was about 13. I was going to an all-girls Catholic school.
Oh wow.
They had no policies in place. It was very entertaining. The senior leadership sat me down and heavily recommended I not come out because it would make things difficult for me. Not technically implying they would make things difficult. You know, very much the tone of voice was like, oh, we're just protecting you from the bullies, but yeah, they made things difficult.
I can't even begin to imagine how difficult that must have been for him, and I'm so proud of him that he managed to come through it and that he managed to like advocate for himself and stand for his truth, because I know in a lot of those scenarios people are pushed back into the closet because other people don't want to deal with the awkwardness and the uncomfortableness of like, so how do we navigate this moving forward?
Came out, I was like, I realised gender vibes were going on. Looking back, should have known since I was like 5, but you know,
Yeah,
I didn't have the words for it.
This is it. Like
First time I met a trans person was this woman called Luna.
Yeah.
I sort of had my eyes opened, and it's like, that's an option.
It was literally exactly the same
Yeah.
for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like exactly the same. Gender euphoria is an unmatched feeling. It's incredible. And I really truly hope that every single person on the planet experiences it at some point, because you don't have to be trans to experience gender euphoria. You can be cis and be happy with your new hairstyle or your new clothing. Oh, it's a great feeling. It's incredible. I literally just had always felt kind of disconnected from the fact that I was like quote unquote a girl or a woman, and I just thought it was because I wasn't a societally acceptable like feminine woman. I just thought like, oh yeah, I'm just not feminine.
My mum being very butch and very gender non-conforming, all the things that I sort of as a teenager was sort of saying, she's like, well yeah, but that's normal. You're just a young, feminism. Yes, obviously you can do all these things, and yes, if you want to get a buzz cut in year 9, I just shaved my head in year 9. She was like, yeah, cool. I did the same when I was a few years older than you. It's all good.
Love that.
Like none of the stereotypical warning signs happened.
Yeah.
I always love the bit where I mention I'm trans. People look at me with this mixture of they're trying to compliment me by saying they couldn't tell, but they're not sure if that's the right thing to say.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is very fun. I don't mind. People are very chill. I've honestly had so few negative experiences lately. Getting those bits of transition that you want, dysphoria or not, getting whatever you need to make your body yours. It's the same with tattoo, right? It's your body. You do something to make you love it more, right? You know?
Definitely.
Ooh.
This is it. Like, one thing that has always baffled me is how against gender affirming surgery certain people are and gender affirming acts in general, when every single cis person on the planet does gender affirming things for themselves all the time. It makes me really happy that like myself and obviously everybody here is such a safe space for these people, because the amount of stories we get from clients, like trans clients, queer clients, intersex clients, where they have had horrible experiences at other studios purely because of their gender, and it breaks my heart. You deserve to be treated with love and respect, and hopefully that is what you find when you do come out. But if you don't find that, you can always come and say hi, because we'll look after you and we'll love you and we'll accept you no matter what. And parents, just listen to your kids, like just listen to them. Just tell them that you love them and tell them that you support them, because that's what they need. They don't need you to put on the bells and whistles. They don't need you to go the 9 yards. They just need you to say, okay, I love you, how can I help? So support your kids. Be nice to your kids, because they need it more than you think they do. And be their biggest supporter, because it's your only job is to support that child, so you should do so no matter what. I will just
promise
So I'm sure you would be very happy to know, dude, that we are all finished.
We've been lying down for
peeking down
2
on it,
hours,
yeah.
so
Well, we've been doing
I'm
it.
ready for a nap, but I'm very excited. And obviously I can see it with a bit of a weird angle.
Getting to know Sebastian was super lovely. He's so nice, he's so easy to talk to. It can feel very isolating to struggle with things like being neurodiverse and being trans, so it's nice to get that reminder from people in the real world in person that you aren't actually going through it on your own, and even though our experience may not be like page for page exactly the same, we both know how it feels. You're a little bit swollen and a little bit angry and all those white highlights at the moment, but that'll all settle down really nicely, and it'll just heal nice and softly, especially all these shadows.
Yeah, there's a lot
They're
less
all-
red than I was expecting, to be fair. There's a massive overlap between the queer community and people with neurodiversity. If society has already told you that you experience the world differently to the rest of us, to normal people, and you've already started questioning some of the base rules that you were told growing up. You are a boy, you will grow up, you will like girls. These things are good, these things are bad. And some of those things you grow up and you realise are wrong. Maybe you're not the gender they said you were, maybe you don't love the people they said you would. Then you start questioning the other things, and vice versa. If everyone around you says supermarkets and going shopping in a shopping centre is a fun and relaxing activity, and to you it's an absolute hellscape of overstimulation, you start questioning what else they were wrong about.
Being part of a neurodiverse family is wild but fantastic.